And Brandon, let's finish out the podcast going through our 1 through 5. Before we go into it, though, make sure to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/most valuable podcast. Every single dollar that we raise in 2019 is going towards our new studio that we are raising money for. So in order to help us out, please go to patreon.com/most valuable podcast. Check out our bronze, our silver, and our gold memberships to give you stuff for helping us get to our new studio.
And we're building that from the ground up, right?
We're trying. It's right now we're in just a square box. It's literally a parallel box, a square that we're in, and we want bigger space so that we can do more for you guys each and every week. But Brandon, let's go into our 1 through 5 for our NFL big board, rounding everything out for 2019. I will start with you yet again. Give us your 1 through 5.
My 1 through 5. Well, Ricky, I got you. At 5, Devin White, the linebacker from LSU. At 4, Kyler Murray, the Oklahoma quarterback. At 3, Nick Bosa, the defensive end from OSU. At 2, Josh Allen, the outside linebacker from Kentucky. And at number 1, Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle from Alabama.
So, Brandon, I'm going to try and be ballsy here. You ready?
Sure.
You've got it pulled up in front of you, right?
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to try to do mine from memory, and you can either tell me if this goes perfectly or if it's catastrophic.
Okay.
So, starting off at number 5, I've got Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Then at number 4, I should have Devin White, linebacker from LSU. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Josh Allen, the linebacker from Kentucky. Number 2, or no, I have Quinnen Williams at 3, defensive tackle from Alabama. Josh Allen at 2 from Kentucky, the linebacker. Nick Bosa at 1. I did have Quinnen Williams at 2.
Yep, you were right first. So, Josh Allen at 3 for Ricky, 3, and then 2, Quinnen Williams, Nick Bosa 1.
So Nick Bosa at 1, Quinnen Williams at 2, Josh Allen at 3, Devin White at 4, Kyler Murray at 5. It almost went perfectly. I second-guessed myself and didn't go with my gut. But the one I want to start with is Josh Allen. And the reason why I want to start with him is there was an article I was looking at, and this is from, I saw it from BearsWire.com, which is of the USA Today network. And Josh Allen basically said, let's see right here if I can pull it up. Here, I'm just going to read from the article. The similarities between Khalil Mack and Josh Allen don't stop there. Allen's 40-yard dash and 10-yard split at the scouting combine was nearly identical to Mack's combine performance, where he posted a 40-yard dash of 4.65 and a split of 1.64 coming out of Buffalo in 2014. And if those similarities aren't enough, Mack and Allen share the same agent and have spoken on numerous occasions. If there's one thing Allen has made clear, it's that he wants to be the next Khalil Mack. That's a goal of mine, Allen said. He's a great player, and I also want to be a great player. I want to learn from him. I also want to be my own player. At the end of the day, I want to make my own legacy. He's already solidified himself as one of the best players ever, I believe. When my time comes in the NFL, when my moment happens, I hope it can be a breakout one. I'll ask you the kind of clickbaity question. Will Josh Allen be the next Khalil Mack, or could he be a Khalil Mack type player in the NFL?
I think without a doubt, yes. I absolutely. After especially watching Khalil Mack and what he did this year, just 1 year, take away his Oakland years, which were good too, which is why I think they lost him, and they're like, man, we don't have anybody now.
They trade him away, and John Gruden goes, well, if we only had a pass rush, we would have won that game. What are you doing then?
Yeah, I know. He's a big goof. But
I don't know. Bad omen on his scouting report, though. You want to know his prospect grade? 6.66. That's a bad omen. I wouldn't draft him.
But you look at what Mack did this past year with the Chicago Bears, and you think, can Josh Allen do that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he could definitely do that. I think he certainly could be. And again, he's probably not going to do it in year 1. He may not do it in year 2, but you give him a couple of years, and people are going to be saying his name. And they're not going to be comparing him to anybody. They're going to be saying Josh Allen. They're going to be comparing people to Josh Allen. And I do believe that. His size at 6'5", What is he? 260 something? What's he got?
262.
262. 6'5", 262. So he's got the size. He's got the build. He's got the speed. He is able to track people all throughout. He can go against the tight end. He is great off the edge rather. He is a very, very good player that just wreaks havoc. That just wreaks havoc all over the field. That's the type of player that you want defensively. That's exactly what you're looking for. And again, he's got the intangible things. And he's got the skill. You put those two things together, it makes for a very dangerous and a very successful player in the NFL.
I tell you, I'm looking at him in every single mock draft that I have done. I look at him and go, the New York Jets. Well, really it depends on what the Cardinals do. But if the Cardinals go Kyler Murray and then even the 49ers have a decision to make, because I might even take Josh Allen at number 2 if I need a edge rusher like the 49ers do. But the Jets, if he is there, he is going to be you should be running that ticket with his name up to there, because I think he'd be a perfect fit with them. The thing that I think is also, I look at it and go, that's a little bit of a coincidence. Who turned down the Jets this offseason to come back to my Minnesota Vikings, Brandon?
Anthony Barr.
You want to know who Lance Zierlein has as a pro comparison to Josh Allen?
Anthony Barr.
Anthony Barr. I see right there. The stars are aligning. And for me, is Josh Allen a finished product? Is he the...
No.
I mean, I don't even want to say Nick Bosa's a finished product, but Nick Bosa is the solidified, except for Kyler Murray, to me, the solidified number 1, because I don't think the Cardinals would go Quinnen Williams. Could Quinnen Williams be a number 1 pick if a team needed defensive tackle? You're damn right. Any 3 of those guys could be number 1. But Josh Allen has some things to work on, but I think his potential is what really brings it into where I don't think he gets out of the top 3 and shouldn't get out of the top 3. That's why I kind of look at it. And the guy that's in our top 5 that is at a disadvantage is Quinnen Williams, because he doesn't rush the passer from the outside on the edge, and he's not a quarterback. And those are the 2 most important things you need at the next level. Someone to throw the ball and someone to get after the guy who throws the ball. So for me, and maybe this is turning into maybe a Quinnen Williams discussion, I think he's a guy that could be at a disadvantage, because is he a top 3 value kind of a pick? You're damn right he is, but he may fall to 4 and not be a top 3 pick.
I don't know about that. I still think that he's one of the most athletic guys as athletic and physical guys in the draft, and at the defensive tackle position. I think that when you're you've got obviously Ed Oliver, you have him at 11. He's going to be above Ed Oliver. Yeah. He's better than Ed Oliver. He's the best. I mean, if you're looking from just a defensive tackle perspective, he's the best defensive tackle in the draft. Easily, hands down.
I'm just saying.
So it depends. It would just depend on the position that you're going with.
Bingo. And that's why I'm saying, obviously for you and I, you have Quinnen Williams number 1 over everybody. I have him over everybody except for Nick Bosa. But if this was a mock draft, I may not have Quinnen Williams at 2. I may have, because let's say Cardinals go Kyler Murray, both the Jets and the 49ers need edge rushers over defensive tackles. Now, the Jets could go with a defensive tackle, but I think they need an edge rusher more than that. That's why I think Quinnen Williams could be that guy where on a big board, hey, I have him at 1 or 2, but when we actually get to the draft, he's the 4th pick overall instead of that 1 or 2. It's not anything against him. It's just team needs at that point. But Josh Allen, I think that he is going to be something special, and I can't wait to see where he ends up. I'll ask you this. If the Cardinals go Nick Bosa at number 1, if you are the 49ers, and just to pull up their needs so we'll go through that whole situation. So let's say the Cardinals shock us. and they go Nick Bosa instead of Kyler Murray. Obviously, the Jets and the 49ers are not going to take a quarterback.
No.
Jets could trade, which could probably be a good thing for them to do. But the 49ers at 2, they need a cornerback. They need defensive line help, so both inside and outside. Offensive line, safety, wide receiver. If you are the 49ers, do you go Quinnen Williams and go BPA? Or do you go for Josh Allen because of what he can be as an edge rusher in the NFL?
Well, at that point, I think I'd probably go with Josh Allen.
Just because it's maybe a more important position than the inside of the line? Yeah,
possibly.
I would. That would be a tricky situation for me if I was the 49ers, because I feel like the 49ers are sitting there at 2 praying that the Cardinals take Kyler Murray, because then they make their decision so easy. It's Nick Bosa, and there it is.
I have a question for you.
Even then it could be Quinnen Williams. I don't know. I just would think that Nick Bosa would be the next one.
I've got a question for you, and I've soured on Nick Bosa. I soured on him a while back. Do you think that he's going to pan out in the NFL? Do you think that he's going to be like his brother, if not better? Or what are your thoughts on him? And I know that it's just a question in my mind. I feel like he quit on his team at Ohio State. That really left a bad taste in my mouth. If I was a general manager, if I was a coach, I would feel like you're quitting on your team. And I understand it's to go to something bigger, better, but you quit on your team. So are you going to quit on us too? That would be my question for him. And do you think that has any significance at all? And do you actually think that he will come healthy, ready to go, and have no injury problems? Because his brother, while good, has had injury problems up the wazoo.
The thing I would worry the most with Nick Bosa is, so how far you, like, the question I would ask him, to be an asshole, would be, so how long are you going to hold out? Because his brother, because of language, did the whole, I think, who was the Bears draft pick this past year? Leonard Floyd? Was that the one that they picked this past year?
Was that this past year?
Who the Bears picked last year did the same thing, kind of held out for
Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith held out for language. Joey Bosa did the same thing. And that would be my question to Nick Bosa. Like, so are you going to hold out too? Are we going to expect that early on in the year? Because for me, I'm not going to do the whole thing where it's like, oh, he's going to be better than his brother. He's not going to be better than his brother. I just think football family, even if he's anywhere near what his brother is, that's a win for us. And I think that he comes from a family that knows what to do and how the game is played, basically. And this is something where I look at it and I go, he knows how to be a pro. His dad has been in the league. His brother is in the league. He's going to come with that knowledge. And also, the quitting on your team from a college side, yes. From a pro side, that's a smart decision, baby. You didn't get hurt. It's like Cardell Jones said, we ain't here to play school. And that's, yet again, that leads into a discussion that we could have until we're blue in the face. Hey, maybe if you paid the players, they would want to come back and play. But however, you'd still have this problem because a guy like Nick Bosa would be like, yeah, you're paying me peanuts. Keep the money. I'll go get my contract in the NFL. I mean, I don't hold it against him because, yet again, you got to protect yourself. What happens if he comes back and gets hurt? Then we're talking about, oh, why did you come back? You were the number one pick in the draft when you got injured. No one was following you down draft boards. What are you doing? We don't know what's going to happen. He might not never got hurt, but that's the big thing. I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't think he'd give up on us because we'd be paying him. We'd be paying him. If I'm the 49ers, we're paying you second overall money. If I'm the Cardinals, we're paying you first overall money. You ain't going to have a problem with that. The whole reason why you didn't come back is because they weren't paying you and you didn't want to get hurt and ruin that chance to get paid at the next level. The last thing I'm going to ask you, though, is Devin White. What do you think goes on with him? because he's a guy I look at in this top 5 who could be a top 5 prospect, but doesn't get drafted in the top 5.
So he's been the one who I feel like has gotten lost. Ricky, I guess I look at where we have him. We both have him top 5. I've got him at 5. I don't really have a thought on him. He's good, but it's all going to depend on where teams are coming in at that point. It's going to depend on what's happening in terms of who's trading up, who's trading in. That could knock everything way off. If the Jets trade and there goes a quarterback, ready team, needy team rather, to go into their spot, that throws things off. If someone else wants to jump in and try and trade in that in one of those top spots too, that throws things off. So I just don't know. We're pretty set for the most part on 1 through 3. We think of Quinnen Williams, Allen, Bosa, Murray. I think Kyler Murray is going to be number 1.
He throws the wrench in there because if he goes number 1, it throws everything off.
So Devin White may very well be out of the top 5 and somewhere into the 7 spot.
Let me ask you this. So I think if Devin White goes past 6, he's a Bengal at number 11. Because I don't think the Jaguars, I don't think the Lions, I don't think the Bills or Broncos go with Devin White. I think he's a Bengal then at number 11. The question I have for you, the 2 other teams I could see drafting him. Number 1, this is part A, you're the Buccaneers. Do you go with Devin White at 5? Let's say Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, and Josh Allen in no particular order, but those 4 are off the board. At number 5, if you are the Buccaneers, are you going Greedy Williams or Devin White? And then if he goes to 6, if you are the Giants, are you going quarterback, cornerback, or Devin White? What are your thoughts? Because I think the Bucs could be that team that goes, you know what? Greedy Williams could be good, but, Kwan Alexander is not here anymore. We need an inside linebacker. Devin White's the perfect fit.
I was going to say the same thing right there on the Bucs is that Kwan Alexander is gone, and that's a big hole to fill, but you suck in the secondary.
Yeah.
You're god-awful. You gave up so many points last year, you couldn't stay in games.
It doesn't help when you got Chris Conte on your team.
So they need a guy in the secondary, and Greedy Williams could be that guy. And I would almost go Greedy Williams over Devin White for that reason. I think that you have a bigger need and concern in the secondary because you're just giving up way too many points.
And look at what Bruce Arians was able to do when he had Patrick Peterson.
Oh my gosh,
his lockdown corner
star.
Yeah. So
Star.
I mean, that's something like that pick confuses me. What if you're the Giants? First off, are you set on quarterback? And if not, would Devin White even be an option for you at 6 if you're the Giants?
If I'm the Giants, I'm going with an offensive frickin' tackle. You're so bad on the offensive line. I mean, if you're not going to go with a quarterback there, New York, you've got to go with someone on the offensive line because it makes no sense.
Juwan Taylor or Jonah Williams?
Jonah Williams.
Okay.
Jonah Williams would be my pick. I've liked Jonah Williams from early on. I would go with Jonah Williams.
Just because he's an Alabama guy.
No, because I think that he's one of the best, if not the best, offensive tackle out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I thought that from way early on in the fall when we started our big boards. Can you believe that? Fall, and here we are.
And now we're already here.
But New York, you've got work to do all around, but you have more work to do on the offensive side. Now you're trying to put pieces together. Who's going to be our next quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback of the future? Eli Manning, he could be down to weeks. We don't even know of how much longer he's actually going to be the starting quarterback.
True.
And then who's going to protect you? I mean, even the guys that they got, like Nate Solder, he came over. He wasn't wonderful. He didn't play up to the contract that they gave him. And then they finally got rid of Eric Flowers, who literally can't play for anybody because he's so bad.
True.
They need help on the offensive line more than anything else because if they have no one there, if no one's going to protect the quarterback, it doesn't matter who they bring in. They could bring in Kyler Murray. They could bring in Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray would still be good, but
Drew Lock,
Dwayne Haskins or Drew Lock, and it's going to be a struggle because
Daniel Jones,
because that is God no, that would be the most porous offensive line in all of football, because it is. People can say, well, the Cardinals, that's why Josh Rosen was bad. They're offensive. No! Eli Manning would have been fine in Arizona's offense. The Giants need to go with an offensive tackle. Moral of the story.
Yeah, and Jonah Williams is the guy. I know I have him low. It's, to me, I feel like the only team that's going Jawan Taylor over Jonah Williams is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jonah Williams I think he's going to slide. And plus, the only reason I am really low on mine is just because I think offensive tackle is becoming that position in this draft where it's like, hey, I'll take this defensive guy over this offensive tackle. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section of our 1 through 5. What's your 1 through 5? Make sure to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Most Valid Podcast. Help us get our new studio by joining us at the gold, silver, or bronze membership. Make sure to also go to Apple Podcasts and iTunes to make sure we get that 5-star rating. It really helps us out to get into these ear holes of more people so that more people can listen to the podcast. And then they give us 5-star ratings. And then Circle of Life, Lion King. It just keeps on spinning. Brandon, thank you for, 4 years? I'm going to just round up. 4 years of greatness here on the Primetime Podcast. You are welcome back anytime you would like to be on. Of course, Brandon will still be here for What's Your Fantasy, so don't think you're losing out on Brandon. It's just the Primetime Podcast. We will miss you. You're welcome back, and just a thank you for everything that we've been able to do on the show this year. But I want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.